College as we host our very first industry business breakfast meeting. There seem to be, since the appointment of our new principal, Mr. Bonankele Jacobs, affectionately known to all of us as Mr. Jomo Jacobs, a lot of events that are taking place for the first time. And when one gets to measure the positive outcome from these events, it means we're heading in the right direction. This morning we are flanked by high-profile dignitaries, and we do appreciate you taking time off from your busy schedule to be with us and grace this function. But having said that, we want to go straight into the program because we also understand that you will need to go back to your important jobs that you do. So I'm going to start off with the protocol of the health and safety protocols of the day, and for that I'm going to call Health and Safety Officer Lishle Ngobise.
Good morning. Thank you for coming to Premier Hotel The Richards. In case of an emergency, the siren will go on. Please can you kindly get up and take on my right-hand side our exit points. Our assembly point is by the boom gates. For the ladies and gents, it's on my right-hand side, on the right, and then a short left. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, Ms. Ngobise, for that. We go into the official welcoming and opening for the day, and we're going to call our College Council Chairperson, Mr. Sanel Nzondi.
A very good morning, everybody. Sanibonani More. Program Director, thank you so much. The Program Director is our official Program Director. Whenever we have programs in the college, he's always the Program Director. So we appreciate the role you play so very much, Program Director. Diriji Zungu, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence this morning. Diriji Zungu, he's a former principal of this college. So thank you so much, sir, for having us, for joining us this morning. Deputy Chairperson of Council, Umbovu Xolile Ngubane, who's seated in the table with us, the donor member of Council who's here this morning, Mr. Mdleche, members of Council who are here this morning, those that I've seen and those that I haven't seen, CEOs of SETAs that are present this morning. I've seen quite a few CEOs of SETAs that are here, industry leaders from the local area, college staff present. I've seen quite a few this morning. In case I've left anyone out, I will say all protocol observed. DDG and Principal, let me, as I open this morning, thank you very much for your very decisive leadership in ensuring that this very important breakfast meeting, industry breakfast meeting, is taking place. And it's important because it comes on the back of another summit, strategic partnership summit that took place in Cape Town several weeks ago. And for me, it bodes well for our sector as Tvet colleges because it means we're now moving in the right direction where we're applying deliberate effort in fostering and forging these partnerships. So your decisive leadership accordingly in this regard, DDG and Principal, is highly appreciated. As Umfolozi, we are elated at the opportunity of having to host this very important industry business breakfast. This breakfast endeavors to bring all sector stakeholders under one roof, which is this roof, to discuss how to better align our college, being Umfolozi Tvet College, programs with the requirements of industry. So it's important that we come together as we have right now under one roof to discuss how we align our program offerings with your requirements as industry. Our programs, ladies and gentlemen, DDG, Manzini, Babzungu, have to be responsive to the needs of the economy, the local economy, to increase the absorption rate of our students and also to equip our students with the right skills needed by the economy, but also with the right skills to also start their own businesses. As we know, I always say, DDG Zungu and Program Director, that we need to, unfortunately, and it's whether it's a sad or a reality or not, but unfortunately, industry can never fully absorb everybody, in as much as we want industry to absorb everybody. So others that we equip with skills need to start their own businesses so that they in turn employ other people, so that we have a trickle-down effect and we have people absorbed and integrated into the mainstream economy. Thus, colleagues, there's an urgent need for partnerships between Umfolozi College and industry to be developed within a clearly defined framework that sets out operational parameters. The development of such partnerships should not proceed, in our view, the absence of a clear set framework. And the reason for that is because we are then able to track the impact we are having in placing our students in industry. So we don't want this thing to happen in a willy-nilly fashion where we're saying, okay, graduate, they've graduated, and then you absorb them, and there's no framework in place that helps us as a college to track the impact that we're having. So there's got to be that framework in place through mechanisms such as the MOUs that I know the principal is championing between ourselves as the college and industry, so that we have set targets. We have set targets and we're able to collectively track that impact that we're having. DHET, I would say our shareholder, I'm also in business, so I think in shareholder. When I think of I think it's a shareholder. So a shareholder, as it were, being DHET, the department, Babzungu, has set a very clear target of placing 10,000 TVET students in work placement. Now that's a very, very clear target that the department and the minister have set out for work placement. And of course, to others it may seem as a small number, DDG. To others it may seem as a big number, but we believe, we're very pragmatic, we believe in incremental impact, because we know, Zwide, that we are not going to have wholesome change overnight. We know that, and all of us here are pragmatic, and all of us know that very well. So it's a very clear target of 10,000 students. Our principal, accordingly, Mr. Jacobs, has signed a directive of the minister for a performance agreement which seeks to precisely amplify this issue of forging partnerships with industry for student placement. And as council, we are going to be holding him accountable, Mr. Jacobs. We're going to be holding you accountable on how many partnerships do you have with the people seated here, right? So you must have very clear partnerships, MOUs, and we must know how many students have been placed, how many are going to be placed. And the reason for that is because colleges can't produce artisans in theory only, right? Industry has to be an equal partner and offer placement, right? So we can't say we're training people, we're training artisans, and we're only doing that in theory. And industry has to play its part. You'll recall, ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you the dangers of our students staying at home and young people staying at home. We've just come from DDG, you would recall, and colleagues, we've just come from a social unrest in this country. So, we are sitting on a ticking time bomb. And it's not government's responsibility, it's not your responsibility, it's not a singular responsibility of anybody, it's a collective responsibility. And we have to come together. This is the only country we know. This is the only Umfolozi we know. This is the only Mhlatuza we know. It's the only King Echwa we know. And we're not going to run anywhere. So it's ourselves in this room, starting in this room and then obviously cascading it to a much bigger context. It is us that have to ensure as industry, as the college, that number one, as a college we produce the right set of skills, but equally as industry, you absorb the skills that we've produced. So this breakfast is meant to forge these partnerships with industry, assisted by CETAs. And CETAs, that's why I'm happy to see CETA CEOs. You know, in just colleagues, Zungu, I've never seen CEOs who are always together like CETA CEOs. When you see one, then you know you will see 5 others. They're a crew, a cabal. They go together, they are very important, and you know when they see you, hello, and they move. But be that as it may, we appreciate DDG Zungu, the CETAs. And we've brought them here purposefully because we want them to have engagements with yourselves as an industry. Have engagements with industry, have engagements with the college. The future of this country and district relies once again on producing the right set of intermediary skills. Now, colleagues, as I move to closure, we have, I'm sure as you would know, I see is in uniform. We're proud to say we are the first college, and probably still the only one, DDG Zungu, if I'm not mistaken, college to have a maritime academy. And I remember very well, we opened it in Eskaweni on the 5th of August, 2019, where the minister spoke, I spoke, and various other local leaders spoke when we opened it in Eskaweni. And this, and I know other colleges are beginning to emulate us and are also wanting to have the Maritime Academy. So this academy, colleagues, boasts equipment from Sweden and Norway. And the academy was enabled by funding support from the NSF and the Transport CETA. The first group of 68 students commenced with training in April 2019. And the academy targets primarily youth, unemployed youth, local unemployed youth, of course, who have an interest in maritime studies. And I say this, colleagues, because there's a huge potential for principal, huge potential in the area for to explore the ocean's economy. Now, you know, sometimes we speak in a very utopian kind of a way, and we speak past people, instead of speaking in simple language, in a language that people will understand. What do I mean by this? The question that all of us must begin to ask ourselves is that there's an ocean here, DDG, and how us as a college, how are we responding to this ocean, to this reality of this ocean? That's the first one. As industry, you ask yourself, I am in business. How am I exploiting the reality of this ocean? What does that mean now in relation to why we are here, amongst other things? It means we need to start exploring programs that exploit the potential and unlock the full potential of the local oceans economy. And we then need industry, once we've produced the skills, to absorb the skills that we've produced. And I always say, Babzungu, I always say, you know, when I drive and I come here, I come to the area quite a lot, Babzungu, because in my other life, I was sitting on the board of the Richards Bay ITZ, and I used to come here quite a lot. And every time I drove to, what's this hotel, the other one? Bonn. When I drive to Bonn and I go over the bridge, and I always see people fishing. And I get interested every time I see people fishing. And I think, you know, I never see young people fishing. And that's how practical we must be about people working with their hands. And I never see young people fishing, because the potential that could be unlocked just from fishing alone. Now, it means as a college, we must start teaching people how to fish, principal. And we partner with the local fishermen, as an example, as part of exploring the ocean's economy, and they must be absorbed. As an example, colleagues. And of course, there are boats everywhere. Who's refurbishing those boats? Those are the conversations that we must start having with industry, and see how do we forge partnerships, meaningful and impactful partnerships. And of course, these should not happen on an ad hoc basis. There must be a concerted effort and a very structured effort in ensuring we realize this. Principal, before we came here, he was speaking to us, and he said very eloquently, he spoke about the lecturers, our lecturers also being absorbed by industry, so that they are reskilled, upskilled, and they get to be equipped with the skills that are needed by industry. And them being absorbed will help them in familiarizing themselves with the equipment, the latest technology used, so that as they teach and train students, right, they are teaching them using the right set of skills, number one, and the right technology and relevant technology, very importantly. And equally, we then need industry to actually play its part in forging those kind of interventions. With that being said, colleagues, I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you. Program Director, thank you so much for always steering the ship for us. Thank you, DDG College Principal Council, members that are here, industry, leaders, SITA CEOs for joining us this very morning. And you are most welcome. You are most welcome. And we really hope that post the speeches that are going to be given here, we engage through some networking and see how we can collectively explore opportunities that are mutually beneficial to both yourselves as, of course, as the SITA industry, and also us as the college. With that being said, I wish you all, on behalf of council and the college, a successful industry business breakfast. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zondi, for that. You know, sometimes, every time when I listen to you, it's that simple ideas you come up with that has such a huge impact in the end that really amazes me. And I think that's where we need to be heading towards. Not past the head, but talking the simple language. Ladies and gentlemen, you all must have received an email for the invite for today, and it had a poster. And when I first looked at it, I asked one of the members of my staff, who's the male model on the picture here? And they had to remind me, no, that's your principal. So they say dynamites come in small packages. So it gives me privilege today, because you're not here only for the breakfast, to talk to you about the purpose of the day. Let me please welcome Umfolozi Tvet College Principal and CEO, the vibrant and charismatic Mr. Jomo Jacobs.
I need to adjust these things because I was teased by some CEO of CETA yesterday that I'm very short. A program director, Mr. Perumal, DDG Zungu, Tvet branch, the acting Executive Officer of National Skills Fund, Mr. Mabusela, I can see is hiding behind the pillar. The man that is behind our Maritime Academy. He has pumped more than 120 million rands in that. Captain Londi, we are waiting for Captain Londi from Wu Maritime. Chairman of our council, Mr. Sani Lizondi, the deputy chairperson of our council, Ms. Ngubane, Umfolozi Tvet College Management, CEOs of CETAs. The chairman was saying the CEOs of CETAs, when they come, they all come. We are happy that you're here. Captains of industry, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Allow me to borrow the words of Malcolm X. I quote, "Education is a passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it." Unquote. We have been bestowed with the noble task of preparing for the future. The young people of our country, of KwaZulu-Natal in particular, we have been given a mammoth task to manage a prestigious college on behalf of South Africa and its people. The society look up to us to prepare for the future. That's what brought us today. Ladies and gentlemen, all I've been asked to do today is just to give the purpose of this thing. And I just want to give a short story. Just a little thing. I was recently in the Highveld, and I had an opportunity to drive through a game reserve. And I saw a sounder of warthogs. It made me think about how does warthogs actually behave? Now, warthogs are very small, but they look scary. Now, there's always things about animals. The impalas at the back, they've got an M. Some people say it's because it's McDonald's. When you put it upside down, they say it's Woolies, because that's what the animals feed on. But the warthogs have got something very distinct. When they are startled, they run very fast. They can run very, very fast. See now, the problems have been shot. And the CEO that said I'm short is very excited that it's proven that I'm short. Now, when startled, they can run very fast for dear life. But they've got one other trait, that when they realize that they are cornered, mostly they are chased by lions. When they realize that the lion has cornered them, they run back to the lion. They fight back. They take the fight to the lion. Most of the time, the lion jumps out of the way. Now, as our college, we are cornered. Our young people need us. There's only one thing we can do, is to fight back. So we've called you here today to help us fight with us. We're not here, the CEOs of SETA, to ask for money. We're not asking for money. All we are asking is that on behalf of young people of our country, let's work together. These are all our colleges, especially to the industry. You pay taxes to keep up these colleges. They are your colleges. Now make them your service provider of choice. But you can't do that if you don't come closer to us. You can't do that if you don't tell us what to teach. So we're asking you to say, no, we have been sponsored by the department. It's okay. But we want to teach what you want to tell us to teach. And we want to produce the number of people that you want us to produce. Tell us how many to admit, so that after that, we can take them back to you. Because you need them, we don't. We all have to build this economy together. We can't go around teaching people theory and then nothing happens. And we know that the SETA CEOs are the best people to help us to talk to you. Because they know where you are, they take your money, so they will find you. So, ladies and gentlemen, in preparing the papers of this, I prepared just a few slides. We had, it's relatively two, because that's the nice thing of having a tall chairman and a short CEO. The other one speaks forever, the other one's short. Now, recently we had a strategic planning session with council. And what we presented as management to council, we said, look, we want to define a student journey. And we want to say, this is where everybody fits in. When we go to work, this is what we do. Now, I can't share with you the whole value chain because we don't have time and I'm short. I'm just going to say one slide of the value chain. Now, this is our value chain. I'm changing here. Please change to the next slide. This is our value chain. What we're saying, we want to get our people to understand what they do at work. That we start by getting the students in, onboarding them, servicing the students, retain them, and they become our alumni. And that's the value chain, in simple terms. But what we're trying to do about this, I won't explain all of them because I'll go to town about it. I'm very excited about this. So what we're doing is that we go to all our departments and say, you in marketing, we need you to get the students here. But what type of students? What type of students? And how do we get to the school principals? Because the information that we get from our management of information systems is that where do we draw the students in Zululand that pass mathematics? Let's speak to that college that high school principal. Let's go to the one that struggle. How do we help you? Because we give you bad material because we don't talk to people that feed us. So we want to speak to them. So that's basically what we're trying to do. Now, I just want to speak to you only about the retention part, which is the next slide, and the last slide, the second last slide. Now, here what we said, we're defining for ourselves some of the people in our organization, how and where they need to do that. They need to assist us. Like we've got placement, we've got a deputy principal innovation and partnership. The job is still vacant. We're hoping it will be filled very soon, DDG. Placement is what assists us to retain our students. If we take these students and we teach them theory, and they go to back home, what it does, they go and waste the SETA's money. Remember, we paid government money, government gave us a grant, NSFAS gave them money. Now, the money that the SETAs could be spending on other young people on learnerships, the same ones that we have here, go back and take that money. And they take the stipends there because they don't have other opportunities, because we have failed them to place them. So what we're saying is that we just need to place these young people. And we want to form partnership. You'll see it either government, private companies, we are saying let's work together in order to place these students. We've got 8 million young people between 14 and 25 running around the streets without opportunities. That must keep us at night. If we can't be the leading college in Africa in 5 years, I've been putting it on my status, DDG, I'm going to resign. I'm going to leave. We are going to be the best in 5 years in Africa, not in South Africa. So what we're saying is that work with us for work integrated learning. We want to take our lecturers to go and put them there. The SETAs are happy to help us. By the way, we are inundated with the SETAs giving colleges money. SETAs are ready to ensure that lecturers can spend a month there and then they pay. But industry is not giving us space. Well, on the other side, we're not talking to you. We're not talking to you. Now, we want to start that process of saying, let's talk. In all those nice goodies that you found, that you got, those nice one, you've got my business card in there. Very nice. Please use that number. And that email address that you see there, please use it after this. Ladies and gentlemen, the purpose here, I've spoken a long time about it. This is the last slide. It's just use us as a training choice, the training provider of choice. I spoke about the partnerships, work integrated learning, work-based education for our NCV, and the experiential learning that we need for 18 months for our students. Look, the PQM of the college should not be of the college. We invite you to participate in our academic board, subcommittees, in retail. Tell us, what do you need in Zululand? We shouldn't be telling you. By the way, we don't have academic freedom. We are not universities. We don't teach what we like. We teach what you tell us. So please, let's work together in that. So I think I need to thank the SETAs for the role that they've been playing of assisting us, because they know the levy-paying companies bringing us together with you, would like to do that at the bigger scale. One of the things that we have been told now is that if we are going to teach anything, any program, without us having partners, government won't fund it. So we need to teach what you need, because government wants to fund the programs for you, not for us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Enjoy the free breakfast.
Thank you for sharing that, your vision, Mr. Jacobs. We really appreciate that. At least now we know which direction we're heading and what the plan is going forward. I do have next on my agenda on this program a representative from Maritime, but I don't think she has arrived. Not yet. So we're going to go to the next item. Umfolozi Tvet College is privileged when I say, or shall I say when I'm going to introduce the DDG. And we're privileged in the fact that we know him well. As you all know that he was the former principal of the college. So to speak, as in we have an uncle in the furniture business. So to get that link going and to talk to him, it makes it that much more simple. And we are absolutely privileged to have that link. So ladies and gentlemen, Deputy Director General, Department of Higher Education and Training, let us welcome Mr. Sam Zungu.
The director of the program, Mr. Peruma, I see there is this fashion or style in this college that Mr. Jacobs has brought, the salt and pepper. I'm looking at your hair. When I left the college, you were not like this. Now I'm looking at Mr. Jacobs, Mr. Ngumalo. Shezi, you are with the sitter. What are you doing with the salt and pepper? I see everyone is becoming gray. But thank you very much, Mr. Program Director, Mr. Peruma. Let me extend my greetings to the Chair of Council, Mr. Sanele Zondi, together with other council members that are here. Mr. Mabusela, the National Skills Fund Executive Officer, I see him hiding behind there. But we want to see him because colleges need money, Mabusela. Awazi uqasha lapha. The CEOs of SITAs, I won't name all of them, but it gives me an honor and a privilege to be in an event that has got so many of our SITA CEOs. And if I may just kindly ask them to just stand up for 1 second and sit down. All the SITA CEOs, please, and SITA representatives, yes. Let's give them a big round of applause. I think we can do better than this. It's the first time I live in this city. It's the first time that we have so many SITA CEOs in one venue. Yeah, that's why I have to ask them to stand up, and we appreciate the support that they are giving to the colleges. Mr. Jomo Jacobs, the principal of the college, together with your management and staff, other Tvet College representatives that are here, the captains of industry, organized labor, student leadership, distinguished guests, the media representatives that are here. Ladies and gentlemen, Sanbonani. Sanbonani. Good morning. Goeiemorgen. Abshe. Oh. Dumelang. Yeah, I have to cover all of you. Goeiemorgen, I've done that. Well, it feels great to be here at home. Oh, by the way, I also have some of the officials from the department. Mr. Ptelis, he is the chief director that is responsible for the centers of specialization. How can I omit you? Maybe you need to stand up because most people don't know you. Shenge, sokwalisa, siyawubona nomsebenzi wakho wenzayo la ezweni. Thank you very much. Indeed, it feels great to be home. And thank you for inviting us here as a department. On behalf of our Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, Honorable Dr. Blade Nzimande, together with his deputy, Honorable Manamela, and also on behalf of our Director General, Dr. Nkosinathi Sishi, who unfortunately could not come here to honor this august event. I wish to tender their apology, but indeed they have given blessings to this event and wish us everything of the best as we proceed moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, I was seated there and then I got reminded by Mr. Mdleche, who's the donor in the council of this college. He pulled out this document. Then I realized that this document had my signature. This was back in 2017. I don't know where he got that. Maybe he's good in archives. Maybe the college should employ him to keep the archives. So he pulled out this document, This document is a declaration of Imbizo, Tvet Imbizo, that was held by our minister back in 2017. And my signature appears here because I was leading the organization called SAPCO. By then, now it's called SAPCO, as a general secretary. But this document was talking to the importance of partnerships. Part of the resolutions that were taken, I think, is resolution number 16. I'll read it. It talks about establishing partnerships which are imperative to implement quality TVET curriculum through improving the capacity of colleges to manage partnerships, linkages, curriculum leadership, and change. So today we are here once more, fresh from the 2022, which is the inaugural TVET industry partnerships that was held in Cape Town. And I'm grateful, Mr. Jacobs and Chair of Council, that out of that, you are now seated here engaging industry, and that's what the purpose of that summit was, to try and build and strengthen these partnerships with our industry partners. I'm greatly honored to address you this morning, and this morning that brings together industry and our TVET colleges together, hosted by Umfolozi Tvet College. It is pivotal to bring together industry and TVET colleges to forge these strategic partnerships. I'm happy to see our colleagues from the oceans, because that's one of my passions. I will tell you later why I'm so passionate about what is happening in the waters, and the reason why this college has a maritime academy. The primary aim of these partnerships is to assist the transition of our young people from learning to working. I think the principal has done a wonderful job in presenting that. The Umfolozi Tvet College has been privileged to enjoy such partnerships from its inception back in the 70s. Umfolozi College was built by industry on the basis of the needs of the industry or local industry. I am being reminded, and I'm seeing some of the familiar faces here from Bell Equipment, who were part and parcel of those contributions that were made by industry. There were a few other entities that supported the college. I can name just a few: Mondi's, Richards Bay Coal Terminal, Richards Bay Minerals, Exaros. So all of those that contributed in the making of what we call today Umfolozi Tvet College. I am reminded once more, some of those names, Joe, we had a lady called Carol Hills, that was part of what was referred as a joint training committee. The joint training committee consisted of human resource managers from all these entities who will then come together and say, in the next coming 3 or 5 years, this is where as industry we are going to be heading. So what kind of skills that will be required? Therefore, as a college, we had to adjust ourselves so that we can be able to respond to that. There were other names. I know there was one gentleman that was very, I would say very hard to deal with or to handle in our academic board. His name was Clive Hornman. I don't know where he is now. He used to come from an entity called Richards Bay Coal Terminal, and a number of them that I can name who ensured that we are kept on our toes. With Mr. Hornman, he used to have the board pack, and he will tear it apart and have these notes. So when you come into the academic board and we are not prepared, he will really deal with you. And that what kept us on our toes as a TVET college. Really going deep into the performance of the college, academic performance, how are we doing? And if you are there on the average, Mr. Hornman will deal with you. My regards to him, wherever he is. But it also demonstrates the importance of having industry partners. As a TVET college, you cannot train and develop apprentices or APIs. That's the popular name that we use, without having industry partners. You will recall that TVET colleges in the past, or technical colleges, you would have been referred to a college by an entity or a company that you are attached to. But as we proceeded as a department and as a government to increase access, we had to take kids from schools and then directed them to colleges. As a result, we ended up being referred to as sausage machines. I'm sure you remember that term, where we produce a number of these young people without having bothered to where are they going to land, where are they going to get their practical experience. We continued to produce them. I have received a directive from the Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, Honorable Dr. Blade Nzimande, that TVET college principals should be prioritize or should prioritize building partnerships with industry. And I'm happy that Mr. Jacobs, we have done exactly that. The Minister does not mince his words on this matter. He says those that does not build these partnerships with industry should know that they are not running a TVET college, but they are running an FET college. And by the way, we transited from being FET college to TVET colleges. Now, if you're still running an FET college, it means we must also flush you out of the system, because you no longer belong here. We're only looking for people who are running TVET colleges. And the Minister is very clear, and he went on to give another directive that all TVET college principals, in their performance agreement, they should have this indicator that says X amount of partnerships that have been able to secure as a principal. Now, I have shared with Mr. Jacobs and his colleagues that if you submit to the department your program qualification mix and you do not support it with the number of partnerships that you have per program, that particular program that has got no partnerships, you run it at your own expense. We are not going to give you a cent if you can't justify to us that you've got partnerships. So it's very key and it's very important that as you walk out of here, Mr. Jacobs, Mr. Zondi, I hope you've prepared those MOUs, that you'll grab these people that are here for them to sign before they leave. Because if they leave, they are not going to endorse again. So please make sure. This decision was informed by the White Paper for Post-School Education and Training, which requires work-integrated learning, which is referred to as WIL, to be a central component of the college programs, and that the extent to which students are able to get placements in the workplace must be used as an important indicator for assessing the performance of the management of institutions. Mr. Jacobs, as a TVET college principal, you owe it to the youth and the country to manage student admissions with the end in mind. And this calls for the establishment of strategic partners with the industry. It will indeed be a travesty of justice and a serious indictment on us as leaders if we were to allow our nation to cause TVET colleges to become a dead end for students. One of our core responsibilities as leaders is to break down barriers to opportunities by creating pathways for young people to access skills training programs, access workplace-based training, articulate into higher education, and pursue self-employment without any hindrance. Ladies and gentlemen, our vision remains that of providing an integrated, coordinated, and highly articulated post-school education and training system for improved economic participation and social development of our youth and adults. Our technical and vocational education colleges cater for many South Africans who need to improve their educational levels and or acquire a skill. To this end, the ability of TVET college principals to lead the forging of partnerships with industry and or workplace is of critical importance. The NDP, the National Development Plan, emphasizes the importance of workplace-based training in job creation and the need for the TVET colleges to become preferred institutions for vocational and training. It also stresses the role of sector education and training, which is the SETAs that are here today, in supporting the development of relationships between educational institutions and employers. I am elated to see so many SETA CEOs that are here in this breakfast this morning. I always say, as TVET colleges, we should not go to SETAs because we want funding. It's one of many of their roles, but it's not about funding. Funding is right at the end, Mr. Shez, Mr. Mkwanas, Dogotel, MM, all the SETA CEOs. Funding is right at the end. One of the critical roles that you should be playing is to assist us as TVET colleges in packaging our programs so that they are relevant to the industry. You are much closer to industry than us. So therefore it's critical that when you come, I would appreciate, Mr. Jacobs, that you find a representative from a SETA that sits in your board or somewhere in one of your subcommittees, particularly the academic board, so that you come closer to what the industry is all about. There are 50 TVET colleges operating across more than 270 campuses around the country in both rural and urban settings, and there are 21 SETAs in South Africa covering 21 industry sector clusters. So you can imagine, I used to have some hair as well, I lost hair. So from one college to 50, and from how many campuses of Umfolozi? 8 campuses, main campuses, and 6 skill centers, and now 270 campuses nationwide. So you can see I'm also becoming mad, Mr. Jacobs, because of that business. However, the main challenge in South Africa in youth unemployment, which remains very, very high at 66.5% for young people between the ages of 15 to 24 years old, whereas the number of those who are not in employment, education, and training is sitting at 3.4 million for the same cohort. And I always wonder, Mr. Jacobs, what is our contribution as the TVET colleges in terms of the needs, those that are not in employment? Why I'm saying that? Ms. Ngubane, when you look at me like that, it says you know why. We have programs that will lead students into what I call a cul-de-sac. So if I leave matric, or I don't conclude or complete matric, I join a TVET college to do a program called National Certificate Vocational, or NCV. 3 years, but I don't complete the 3 years. The system kicks me out because of perhaps poor performance and other things. Where will I go? One, remember I don't have matric, so if I don't have matric, it means I can't go to university. Now I can't again proceed in the college because I don't have matric. So where else can I go? The house is quiet. So it means somewhere, somehow, as colleges, we also contribute to the needs. But because we are a department that is for everyone, we also have what is called Community Education and Training Colleges, CETs. So we then refer you, give you another chance again to go to the CET. But again, some of them also don't make it there. So what is the other option again? SETAs, I thought you were going to raise your hand and say, we take them and put them through learnerships. The expansion of workplace-based learning opportunities for students has proven to be a challenge in TVET college sector, and this might have, in part, promoted or prompted by President Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa in his State of the Nation address, where he directed that we place 10,000 unemployed TVET graduates in workplaces from April 2022. But I must say, Mr. Jacobs, that number has since increased. We now need to place 15,000. And I am looking at our sitters here and saying, please, we need more and more for us to place. So in response to this honor, the minister made a commitment to ensure that the 10,000 TVET college graduates are indeed offered the work experience, being supported by our sitters, of course. And we really, really applaud them for having raised their hands to say we are going to support this cause. Indeed, the sitters are helping in terms of providing the stipends and also facilitating some of the workplaces for our students. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a sign, there are signs that partnerships in the beginning, or is beginning to work as the roles and contribution of each partner and are becoming clearly defined and understood by all. Industry and workplaces are absolutely crucial, as there's no artisan that can be produced only through theory without practical experience. And I think Mr. Jacobs has already alluded to that. The hosting of this important breakfast meeting provides an opportunity to all key stakeholders gathered here today to fully engage on how we can collaborate and strengthen our efforts to turn every workplace into a training space. The Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan emphasizes the need for industry training to be leveraged on to support the drive to build and strengthen the required skills base. Therefore, employers cannot afford to be bystanders in the process of training artisans and other mid-level skills offered in our TVET college system. For the prosperity of individual citizens as well as economy at large, industry must be involved in every aspect of life of a TVET college. We also need to ensure the involvement of the public sector, for instance, our municipalities, our government departments, as well as state-owned enterprises in our effort to place our students. I'm also being reminded that where I'm standing, some years back, we signed an agreement with the city of Umfolozi. There was a table here with the mayors and everyone else to train and develop our engineers. And we were going to go to the city of Umfolozi to say, how many technicians do they have? How many qualified artisans do they have? And then we start working out on the ratio of 1:3, so that we can have 3 of our young people being placed under each one of the technicians. I don't know what happened to that agreement. Mr. Jacobs, you can go there and ask the leadership if that can still be implemented. There are huge advantages to employers when they open their workplaces for TVET college students for experiential training, because it increases the pool. You are not committed to absorb them, but it gives you an opportunity to observe them closer, rather than having someone that is coming that you don't know. Now, when they come for experiential learning, you can be able to understand and see their behaviors, and you'll be able to pull out the cream of the crop. I may not be a businessman, but to me, this actually makes some business sense. Having TVET college graduates with relevant skills and experience will translate into a larger pool of talent that employers can choose from. As mentioned earlier, the issue of high unemployment cannot solely be relegated to our government. The social unrest we continue to observe in our country, in particular as a result of youth uncertainty about their employability, and this cannot be good for our country. As a result, we call upon business to do more than ever before. Join hands with us to tackle the youth unemployment and skills training. As government, we have made great strides to create conducive conditions for our partnerships to happen. We have developed a legal framework, and we have also invested quite a great deal in TVET colleges, including the employment of competent personnel and management, although much more is still need to be done in this regard. Since 2018, the Department of Higher Education and Training has embarked on a plan to review and update programs and qualifications offered at TVET colleges. And I must say, as I'm standing here, I've been given another directive again to review our national certificate vocational. Reason being is that we now have in the basic education what is called the three-stream model. The three-stream model, it says there are 3 exit levels for those that are in schools, those that want to go to universities, those that want to take the technical and vocational route. Now, that is targeting the cohort that NCV would have ordinarily targeted. So how do we, as TVET colleges, adapt to that? So this plan is focused on the following aspects of the curriculum: the integration of digital skills knowledge into current programs, introducing new programs focusing on robotics in response to the 4IR, phasing out of the outdated programs such as Report 191 program, N1 to N3, reconstruction of engineering programs in collaboration with the Quality Council for Trades and Occupations to make them more responsive to the needs of the industry. Revision and updating of subject content. In this regard, the department has updated the curricula in at least 60 subjects of the Report 191 program since 2018, aligning TVET College's program qualification mix with the skills needs of the country. Now, the Acting Executive Officer, Mr. Mabusela, we are pleased that the National Skills Fund has committed to continue investing in TVET colleges towards funding over 15,000 students per annum in occupationally directed programs, which are linked to scarce and critical skills areas, especially with regards to artisan development. We appreciate, Mr. Mabusela. I know most people have not seen you because you seated right at the back of this, but he's just somewhere there. I think they have done very well. Let's give them a round of applause. Our establishment, or the establishment of our centers of specialization, based in more than 20 TVET colleges, continue to focus on employer-linked quality training in 13 designated trades. These centers of specialization have already tested about 119 apprentices who have now qualified as artisans. And as Umfolozi College, we know that we are one of those 20 colleges with centers of specialization, and congratulations to you. And you also have an accredited trade test center. The business community in this area is indeed fortunate. You have an enabling college in your background. The NSF has injected over 122 million. Hey, I don't know how big that money is. I've never seen it with my eyes. But the National Skills Fund has injected over 122 million rands over the past few years at the college for the Maritime Academy. In this financial year, the National Skills Fund has approved over 50 million for skills programs at Umfolozi Tvet College. So government is really committed in developing skills, working with industry. And I must say, in this particular program, which is maritime focus, I said I will talk about it. Mr. Zondi, the chair of council, has already spoken about this capability and this asset that we have in our waters, and we are not tapping into. Reason why we are not tapping into, because we don't have skilled people. And it is through this initiative that we can be able to equip our people with the necessary skills to get into the waters. So when we grew up, Mr. Zondi, some of us grew up not far from here, we were told that stay away from the waters, particularly the ocean, because it's going to take you away. And that's why we can't go there, Joe. We'll allow you to swim. We can't swim. So now our people have stayed away from the waters, but there is wealth, there's everything. The kind of minerals that you are fighting over here, they are also there. Why? Because there's something called soil erosion. So as the waters are taking all these minerals, they are taking them there. So it means when we are done here, we must go and mine in the waters. When we look for oil and gas, we must go where? In the waters. So all of these things that we have here, they are there as well. But we need to equip our young people with the necessary skills not to be afraid of the water so that they can go there. Now, within our public institutions, we do not have many participants in this field of maritime. Hence, it is important that we have an institute like what Umfolozi College has. The college is amongst the few in the country, as I've said, but I will be delighted to see at the end of the breakfast meeting more partnerships that will emerge in support of these kind of initiatives that we see in this college. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to take too much of your time. I feel sorry for those that crafted this speech. It was supposed to take 2 hours, but in view of the fact that we have breakfast, I will have to cut this one off. And once more, thank you for this great initiative. And I'm really, really honored to be invited in this breakfast session. And I hope, Chair, Council Chair, that this is not the first and the end. And from here, those that raise their hands to say they are coming here, I saw the register, make follow-ups, and go and engage with them. When I was young, being part of this college, I was privileged, Mrs. Tutoy. The founder of the college, Mr. Piet van Skalkwyk, when he was doing the visits to each and every company that is here, he used to ask me to accompany him. I never knew why, because I was just a junior lecturer. But I found myself there. Only until later then I realized that, oh, he just wanted to demonstrate to me how do you negotiate partnerships and talk to industry. So I learned it from there. And I hope, Mr. Jacobs, that we are going to do the same. Visit each and every one of these. There is Bell equipment. They are here. Go sit there with them. Maybe they will give you that one of those big machines. And also talk about how can you train the operators on behalf of Bell equipment by the college and the other things that you can do with them. But ladies and gentlemen, with those few words, thank you very much. May you have a wonderful morning. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Zungu. It's absolutely inspiring to know the plans for us going forward. Yesterday, as the council chair mentioned when he started, that I've been designated as the program director for the college. I don't know when that happened, but for some reason, they tend to take advantage of this, because I was told this function was in the making for about 6 to 8 weeks. And I was told I was the program director yesterday at 4:30. And I told Mrs. Dutoit, not a problem, I can do this, but send me the program at least. And she said, okay. And it never came. And then she phoned me at 9:30. No, sorry, she sent me a WhatsApp at 9:30, just giving me this basic program. And she said, there's going to be a representation from maritime studies or industry. And you need to Google and look up Ms. Zondi Ngobo and introduce her. And I did. Unfortunately, she hasn't arrived, and I can only assume that there's a situation. I'm hoping it's not this COSATU shutdown that stopped her along the way. But I just want to share just 45 seconds of what I learned Googling Ms. Noble. And I want to do this because all three of our main speakers, our principal CEO, our council chair, and DDG, alluded to the fact of going to the waters. Now, this individual was never shy at school, and she had a passion for speech and drama, acting and debating, and took the lead role in these categories. Going into maritime studies was never part of the plan. And later on she realized she's going to go into the unknown. And you can only imagine, as a female black individual back then, what this must have been and what meant to her. And in an interview, she stated how she was going through this so-called practical examination, where she had to be at the so-called cockpit of the ship, or the bridge, they call it. And she failed that because she was very nervous. And the following morning, she went to the front of the ship, the same way, if you all know how the Titanic, the movie The Titanic, she spread her arms and she looked into the water, looking at the ship cutting through the water and the dolphins squeaking as it goes in the front. She said, you know what? I'm going to call myself the Black Mermaid. That's black with a Q. She went to the captain and she spoke to him, and she told the captain, you got to give me another chance because I'm the Black Mermaid. And I'm not going anywhere. So he gave her another chance at the bridge. And she aced it. She then went on to become a ship navigator. And this is where I want you all to acknowledge. She became the very first black, or shall I say, female in all races in Africa as a dredge master. If that doesn't tell us, thank you for that. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. If that doesn't tell us that we have success and we can get to that waters, then nothing will. So with a little said, and it would have been absolutely lovely to have had her with us and for her to share experience, because I really thought that 5-minute interview that I watched last night was so special. I can only imagine how she would have done it today. But please go onto YouTube and Google the Black Mermaid. That's all, and everything will come through. She's done quite a few talks. So we're going to go to the final part of the program now, and that is to, as we all know, a function of this magnitude cannot happen without the role players all coming together and putting to guarantee the success. So I'm going to call our Deputy Director, Academic Service, Umfolozi Tvet College, Mrs. Elsie Tvet.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A welcome to everybody that's here. I think we've acknowledged all the different role players. And I want to say a special welcome to our council. This is a long in the making process. From the first words when this council started with us, they said we must have a business breakfast. And then COVID came and everything else happened, so we never came to today. But, well, our new principal made sure that we are fulfilling on that request. I want to first acknowledge our speakers. Mr. Zungu, it's always wonderful to have you back with us. It feels our heart is warm. And while you were talking, I was thinking of this journey that we went through in Umfolozi. And remember all that good old days when all of us were working together. Before it was too big and too many campuses, but we are still trying and working very hard to keep the spirit of Umfolozi alive. And I think that is what, I just want to mention the one thing, what makes us unique. Whenever I'm traveling in the Durban area, I'm thinking, how can the colleges say they don't have work placement? There's so many industries here, and I want to specifically acknowledge our industries for the big support that you give to the college. Mr. Zungu mentioned the college was built by industry. We have the RBM building, we have the RBCT lab, and we still treasure those support. And the centers of excellence that we have at this moment, or specialization, we're one of the few colleges with more than one. And it is because of the fact that industry adopt us. And yes, sometimes they have to push us a little bit hard, and it's okay, because at the end of the day, where will our students go if they don't have a workplace? And I think that's the message of today. Let us take hands, let us make sure that that value chain that was mentioned here is not broken, and that our students don't go and sit at home and do nothing. So a special acknowledgement to all the industries that is here for your support up to here, and hopefully your, let me say, and your ongoing support in future, not hopefully, because it will be there. And please make sure that we are doing our part of the picture as well. If you see that sometimes the college is a little bit slow, so push us that we can answer to the needs of industry. The chairperson of council, what I want to take from your message is do we have the right PQM? And that we will only know if we are having these discussions and engagements with industry. And hopefully during the networking session, we will also hear some of your views. I want to mention specifically our maritime industry. This is a new venture of us, and it was actually through the passion of Mr. Zungu that we started with this Maritime Academy. We still have big dreams, and we still need to know, are we really on the right track? Are our students going to be placed? But thank you for the support that you gave us up to now, and please help us to make sure that we are producing relevant students for this industry. And just something that I want to mention to the people here is this is also not done by us alone. We are in partnership with industries such as Bell. Some of the trainings are actually taking place at the Bell Training Center. So at the end, the college is a success only if we have integration between the different components. To our principal, sir, I remember the phone call that you sent to me. 3,000 students must be placed by the end of the year. I think we are at about 1,800 at the moment, so it's August. So we still have a lot of work to do, but with that, also a thank you to the CETAs. Yes, we say that you are not just there for the funding, but it is very important because you help us to open doors. Industry are more than willing to take our students with that little incentive that we are getting from the CETAs. So thank you for all of you attending, and thank you for that. It feels like a family that we are here together, looking at all the different components of the whole Tvet sector and where we want to go to as a college. So thank you helping us to give our students the opportunity so that they can have their own future and that they can write their own future and let it be known. Thank you.
We just have a few announcements, a special announcement, and to also remind you of what will be happening later on today. So I'm going to call the college principal to come and do that. Mr. Jacobs?
Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. Told people do some of the things I don't understand. I've got two announcements. Now, I've been sitting next to the CEO of AgriSita. Now, I don't know whether this is brave or, some of those things. These people put themselves through terror. They run for 90 kilometers, really, for support of small-scale farmers into commercial farming. Comrade Innocent, the CEO of AgriSita, will be running the comrade in support of small-scale farmers. I think we need to celebrate. He's sitting right here, ladies and gentlemen. I was being schooled because I come from a very cold province about how people grow up watching the comrades. Now I've got a reason to go to the stadium on Sunday to go and cheer up Comrade Innocent. Thank you, and give him a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen. Now, and then, look, these announcements are not made for free, My surname is Jacobs. It's a Jewish surname. So you would understand what the Jews are known for. So I made him pay for the announcement. Now, this is what he's going to do for us. We have committed ourselves to sign an agreement by the end of the week. Now, one of the things that we agreed upon with the agreement, and you would be surprised that we weren't chatting to each other, we were writing. And I took pictures of what we agreed upon. And I'm going to send them to them. If it doesn't, if it doesn't do this, I'm going to send it to the minister. So we agreed that he's going to link us with farmers in forestry and sugarcane. Now, this is what I've been saying to my colleagues, that why are we busy with food production? We can leave that to the Free State. My people do it better than you. But you have sugarcane here. You've got sugarcane here. You've got the trees here. And most importantly, the land in Zululand belongs to the people. We go to the chief and say, we've trained these young people, give them land, let's create a market for them, and then they go and sell these trees. They go and sell sugar cane. So we agreed with him that he's going to do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited about this agreement. This is not only the agreement we agreed upon with him, is that he is going to ensure that he links us with all the farmers here. And what we need to do in our agreement is that we're not going to focus only on primary agriculture at DDG, but agro-processing. We've got fruits here, we've got why can't our people make juice, and why? Because we are close to the port, one in Richards Bay, we've got one in Durban. Why can't we export juice that we produce in our backyard? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, just hold us accountable. With Comrade Innocent, we must sign that by the end of the week. So I don't know, other CEOs of the CETAs, I see they're looking down. They're actually writing what they're going to discuss with me. I had a very important engagement with the CEO of WR CETA last night, about what we want to do, particularly in wholesale and retails, and also building the skill centers. Now, the DDG was speaking about community colleges, and we were saying in our discussion, so this is just still brainstorming with Mr. Tom Kwanas, that how do we bring the community colleges closer to us, Chair, as Tvet colleges, assist them to run training centers. So that, because we, as Umfolozi, probably we didn't talk about who we are. We're one of the biggest colleges geographically. We start from Watuguza all the way to the border of Mozambique. Now, we've got a community college in KwaZulu-Natal that needs our help. We're already working with them, assisting them with training some of their programs, and they pay us for it. I mean, I told you I'm Jacobs, you pay for everything. So they pay us for that training, but we would want to give them the opportunity also to develop those skills, and we're gonna be working with that with Mr. Tom Kwanazi. Ms. Senamulela, are you still okay? All right, I can see you sitting next to Ayanda. Do you want to talk to me? Oh, okay, no, that's fine. The last announcement, ladies and gentlemen, this is Tvet month. What we're doing as we're sitting here, I think about just 7 minutes from here at our Rich Tech campus, we've got a campus full of students from high schools. Now, these are grade 9 students that came for an open day. We're showcasing what we're doing as a college and giving them options and so on to say, this is what you can do, and then we take them through. We're going to give them an opportunity as well to walk into the workshop. So we have taken most of the equipment in the workshop and we put them on our rugby field. We put them in a huge marquee. They are going there, they're interacting with our staff about what are the opportunities at the college, and from there they will go into our workshops. I've asked our IT guys and the guys in the back that whilst you're enjoying your breakfast, they need to stream what is happening there. But please, we're inviting you just before you go out of Richards Bay or just before you go to your office, take an opportunity to pass there and see what the college does. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Jacob. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of today's function. Please feel free to continue to network while refreshments are being laid out for you. And we really hope you take advantage of coming and visiting our showcase that we have at the Rich Tech campus, both on the field and at the training center. Also, I want to take this opportunity to all our beautiful ladies. This is Women's Month. I wish you everything of the best. Power to the females out there, especially when I mentioned about our maritime lady, Ms. Zonding Noble. She's really proving that. When you finish networking today and having your refreshments, if you do go to watch our showcase at the Rich Tech campus, and then you're heading on back either to work or back home, let me take this opportunity of wishing you everything of the best, and may God be with you. Until then, thank you so much for being with us today.